So I know a lot of Americans are anxious about the Medicaid cuts that are coming down the pike. And I presented information yesterday regarding alternatives, specifically medical tourism and moving abroad, especially for seniors who are concerned about whether or not they're qualified for Medicaid or if they have a chronic condition and they're concerned that their Medicaid will get cut. And I've received so much backlash. Guess what? I'm on your side. This is merely an option for you and your family to discuss. You don't have to take it to heart, but it's an option, and many millions of Americans are considering it because of the healthcare crisis. And rather than wait for politicians and policy to change, because let's face it, the Medicaid crisis has been going on for decades. Whether or not it will be fixed in the primaries or the next election, who can stand to wait at this point? People are still developing, unfortunately, health conditions. They still need to see doctors. They still need to go into nursing homes. So I present this so that you could plan for your family. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C. And perhaps moving abroad and medical tourism is the last resort, but at least you can consider it and store it. That worst case scenario, I can go to Costa Rica or Colombia to get health care and it won't bankrupt you. So that's what I want your takeaway to be. Don't be lost in the woods like this doesn't work. It works for many. Many Americans that I know are moving abroad. I've received health care. My mother has received health care abroad because we don't know when the other shoe is going to drop. I believe that it's prudent to have different plans of action because right now things are so precarious and it never hurts anyone to have a plan. Another thing I just want to bring home is that some people were confused about Medicaid, the use of Medicaid, and me referring to the state and federal funded program, and that each state has their own individual name for Medicaid. Don't get lost in the weeds what the terminology of Medicaid is in your state. That's not the point of the information I'm presenting in this video. Medicaid is the term that I use because it's universally accepted. Most people understand Medicaid to be the state-funded health insurance program for low-income individuals. Whether it's called Medi-Cal in your state or Medicaid by Kentucky, that's not the point of this video. What I want you to drive home is the different options in the event that Medicaid gets pulled out from underneath you or your loved ones. So again, Medicaid is a need-based program. You have to have a certain income in order to qualify, and you can't own too many assets. I'm not going to break that down in this video because it is state dependent. Medicaid is particularly important for seniors because it supplements their Medicare. Medicaid pays for long-term care insurance, other services, medication, and so it supplements the Medicare. Specifically, it pays for nursing home care or home care where a nursing aide comes to the senior's home in order to take care of them. And also, in nursing homes, it covers meals, medication, and personal hygiene supplies. Again, Medicare is for seniors or those individuals that have a chronic condition and so are eligible for Medicare, but it depends on what condition. It's a very short list of conditions that Medicare is given to individuals who are under 65 years of age. Seniors rely on Medicare for a portion of long-term care. So we're going to segue into long-term care cost and why Medicare is not enough. Medicare only pays for a senior's long-term care for 100 days. That's not a long time for a senior who requires nursing home care and 24/7 care. That is why seniors rely on Medicaid to come in and supplement and pay for the actual long-term care. Medicare will only cover 100 days. So Medicaid is the gold standard when it comes to health insurance, which is why so many seniors rely on it and do everything that they can in order to access it as they increase in age and they may develop more health concerns. However, a person that owns too many assets, as I mentioned before, can be denied or ineligible from receiving Medicaid. which is where Medicaid or irrevocable trusts come in. So seniors, what I do as an estate planning attorney, I meet with individuals and I discuss their long-term care plans, who's going to be taking care of them. This is what estate planning attorneys do. And so we create irrevocable trusts for those so that they can qualify for Medicaid, because the trust is set up in a way to say all these assets are owned by the trust and they're no longer in the personal name of the individual. The trust owns them. And then that person can then apply for Medicaid, say, Medicaid, I don't own anything, the trust owns everything, and please make me eligible. That's pretty much how it works. Trusts are also set up to avoid taxes at the federal level and the state level, especially regarding estate taxes when that individual passes. Now, the federal tax limit for when a person passes away for estate taxes is $13.99 million, and that's for an individual. For a married couple is $27.98 million. So a person that owns assets over this amount is prudent about estate planning and putting their assets in a trust so that when that person passes away, the money can pass to the heirs or the beneficiaries and not be subject to federal estate taxes. Now, some states also have state taxes. So estates over a certain amount, say New York, for instance, about $6 million. So individuals that die and their value of their estate is over $6 million and they have not set up the appropriate trust, New York State comes in and says, hey, you owe us taxes. So this is why wealthy people rely on Medicaid trusts and irrevocable trusts to set themselves up not only for Medicaid, but also to avoid taxation on their assets. Another important point is that an individual can own a limited amount of assets, like a family home, and have some stocks and investment and be Medicaid eligible. Owning nothing is not a criteria in order to get Medicaid. However, what Medicaid does is say, we'll qualify you for Medicaid, but guess what? When you pass away, we're going to put a lien on those assets in order to recoup the cost of your health care, which is what many families get blindsided with. They figured, oh, my mom, my dad got Medicaid, we're good, we don't have any medical bills. No, Medicaid comes to recoup. And every state, I believe 49 out of 50 states, have a Medicaid estate recovery program that allows them to collect from an estate based on the care that they provided for that individual. Now, this can be upwards of hundreds of thousands of dollars. If someone was in a long-term care facility, this could be $200,000, $300,000. I've worked with this with Medicaid negotiation, $300,000, in which case Medicaid said, we want to be paid back for the care we provided to this individual. There's some exceptions. I won't get into it in this video, but I will discuss it in a follow-up video. Also, in terms of look back. In order to qualify for Medicaid, Medicaid does do a look back, meaning they review the financial transactions of that individual prior to applying to Medicaid. So as of the date of their application to Medicaid, Medicaid will look back 5 years to see how assets were transferred, why they were transferred, because the idea is Medicaid wants to discourage people transferring assets in order to be eligible for Medicaid. So they don't want transfers in order for people to become eligible for Medicaid, and that individual will likely not have been eligible for Medicaid. But the look back for most states is 5 years. And the look back is different for home care services as well as long-term care services. So California, for instance, is eliminating its look back period. I believe it's for home care services. I'm not sure. I think it's for home care services. And currently has a 2.5 year or 30-month look back period for long-term care services. So a person who's living in California wants to apply for Medicaid, they're subject to a review of their financial transactions and any assets that were transferred during this look back period, before they can become Medicaid eligible. So hopefully that's clear regarding Medicaid. I present the idea of moving abroad and medical tourism because, as I mentioned, a person could become Medicaid eligible, but guess what? Medicaid's coming to recoup on the medical care and the cost of that care that was provided. That can be hundreds of thousands of dollars. So the argument that it's expensive to relocate to another country to access health care, the expense compared to a $200,000-$300,000 lien and the couple of $1,000s of relocation is up for you to decide. My responsibility is provide information for you. You're going to pay one way or the other because that's the way the system is set up. So if you're curious about moving abroad and you're a senior and you have a chronic condition, or if you're a healthy senior and you have nowhere to begin and you're curious and you just want to know, please reach out to me. My website is Access Wellness Abroad, and I work with individuals and families that want to move abroad, not only to avoid the healthcare crisis, but also to get access to a better quality of life. And this is why I present these videos, to show you that there's alternatives out there. You don't have to be suffocating under the weight and the issues and the complexities of the United States. No country is perfect. I also want to present that there are many countries that invite Americans, even Americans that have chronic conditions. They welcome you and they provide medical visas for you to get access to healthcare, because many countries' healthcare is a human right, and it has to do with their government believing that it is their responsibility to provide healthcare not only for their nationals but also for foreign nationals. So it is not a burden for Americans or Canadians or Australians to travel there and access healthcare. As a matter of fact, they enjoy it. It stimulates their economy. It boosts tourism. And of course, they're going to enjoy people who are contributing and enjoying the healthcare system. I could speak to Colombia, as you've seen in my previous videos. I have traveled to Colombia. I take groups to Colombia in order to access health care, and the doctors are so pleased to have Americans coming and accessing their exemplary healthcare services and system. And Colombia leads the world, ranked at 22 in healthcare in the United States, outranking the United States and Canada. And they are so proud of their healthcare system. And I am fortunate to be able to access healthcare in the United States because I don't have healthcare abroad, because I don't have healthcare in the United States. I don't have health insurance because it's cost prohibitive. I was quoted at around $5,000 a month for a single person. I'm just not going to do that. So if you're curious about medical tourism, moving abroad, you're overwhelmed, you want to know a particular country that you're interested in, please let me know and reach out with any questions in the comment section.